Mercedes-AMG models have always been a bit more of a muscle car proposition compared to something like a BMW M. They're more about swinging the tail out in a smoky slide than pinpoint precision handling. Although that's not really the case anymore with the current lineup of models. The new E53 AMG delivers on both fronts. It delivers brutish muscle car-like performance, but it's also really good through the corners. It manages to pull the same trick as BMW in making the vehicle feel smaller, lighter, and more agile than you would expect when browsing over the specs. This is a nearly 5-meter long car that weighs, in this E53 plug-in hybrid, guys, over 2.3 tons, but it feels so much smaller and more nimble. Just like BMW, which has repositioned the models it used to call M Performance as actual M models, even though it hasn't really changed much about them. But now it splits its M lineup into M and M high performance models. And the latter category includes the M2, M3, M4, and so on. While the M non-high performance category includes stuff like the M440i, M340i, and Mercedes seems to have a similar approach, but maybe a bit more extreme. It's elevated cars like the E53 that I'm driving today to the rank of full AMG models. And unlike BMW, which doesn't really change the exterior of its new M lineup, non-high performance M lineup that is, Mercedes actually gives these 53 badged cars the wide body from the 63. And in the case of the CLA 53 and the E53, they look absolutely fantastic. Neither of these models has a 63 in the lineup yet, but both 53 badged cars look like they could be 63s. With the blistered arches, the very aggressive front and rear bumpers, aero elements, like in this case the big ducktail carbon fiber spoiler, they really look good. The standard E-Class, the W214, is a great looking car, whichever trim you have it in. I'm not 100% sure I like all of the Edition 1 stuff on this car. The Edition 1 is the first edition of a new AMG model, and it comes with some bespoke stuff and plenty of equipment. It's not hard to spot an E53 first edition. It has these special 21-inch wheels that look really good on this car. They have a center cap that covers the lugs, and that says Edition 1 on it in yellow. This car has a yellow theme. There's a lot of yellow going on. It also has graphics down the side of the vehicle that say AMG. And inside, you get these really rather nice yellow seat belts, which I quite fancy. Yellow contrasting stitching, yellow elements to the sport seats, which I don't think are standard on the E53, but they make a huge difference. They hold you really well in place. They look fantastic. They have enough thigh support to support my longish legs. And they just suit this car's sporty character. As you can see, I'm not moving around in my seat. I don't have to strain my arms to keep myself upright through the corners like I did in the CLE. I cannot stress enough how important good sport seats are for a good driving experience in a sporty car. This has got some power. The seating position is pretty good too. I would have liked maybe to sit a bit lower, but it's fine. I don't feel like I'm sitting too high. The AMG specific steering wheel with Alcantara grips is just fantastic. I'm also one of those weirdos who doesn't mind the touch sensitive controls on the wheel spokes. Everybody just hates them, but I don't know what the issue is. I don't hit them by accident and they work fine. With the carbon trim, contrasting yellow accents, and those bucket seats, the E53 really does feel special. It's like AMG remembered how to do theater. So this has the same engine as the CLE 53, a turbocharged straight 6 with around 450 horsepower. But in this E53 plug-in hybrid, it is helped by an electric motor. This car is a plug-in hybrid because it needs to meet stricter emissions regulations. And efficiency? Mercedes says 2.9 liters per 100 kilometers if you keep the battery topped up. Baby it and charge often and you can do even better. I don't know why you'd want to tiptoe around in a car with this much performance. If you drive it the way I've been driving it, you're gonna get around 15, 14 liters per 100 kilometers. So I set up the individual mode with the suspension in comfort, the drivetrain in, what was it? Dynamic, which is the highest setting, and the dynamics, which are the driver assist systems, in advanced, which is the middle setting, theoretically allowing you to play with the car a little bit. And that's how I've been driving it for the past few days. I have occasionally switched it to full electric mode, driving around my neighborhood at night. Although this car isn't especially loud, you're not really going to wake anybody up, even if you want to rev it, because it has a limiter at 4,000 RPM. It's a hard limiter, but a limiter nonetheless. Actually, it's a soft limiter. I like how the car moves from the inertia. Together, the combustion engine and the electric motor make nearly 600 horsepower and 750 Newton meters of torque. In cars equipped with the AMG Dynamic Pack, which my tester doesn't have, you can enable race start mode, just Mercedes speak for launch control, and the car will briefly offer over 600 horsepower. This, I think, cuts the acceleration time from my tester's 4 seconds to 100 kilometers per hour to 3.9 or 3.8 seconds. Launching it, it really feels like it's a nearly 600 horsepower car. Its in-gear punch is remarkable. And it sounds pretty good too. There are lots of turbo noises going on whenever you accelerate and lift off. It's quite nice, actually. Although it's not quite as nice as in the CLE E53. Maybe you can get a sports exhaust, which my tester doesn't have because I cannot toggle a noisy mode on or off like I could in the CLE. It's still an E-Class at heart. Comfy, polite, maybe even a little too well-mannered. Its wide-body kit and aggressive stance make it look like it wants to start fights, but it's really the guy who apologizes when you bump into him. It's interesting that this car doesn't really hit you with its full power. It seems to just build the acceleration. So you floor it, it does take off, but then the rate of acceleration seems to increase gradually the more you keep your foot buried in it. It feels interesting and different from other plug-in hybrid performance cars that I've tried. It's also really good through the corners. So even though it weighs 2.3 tons and it's a big and heavy car, it has rear wheel steering to help keep it in check. And the steering is very nice and precise. It gives you confidence to drive this car quickly. And it really shifts. Even when you put the suspension in Sport Plus, it's still really comfy. This car doesn't have air suspension, but its adaptive dampers do a really good job of blending comfort and sportiness. I didn't think I was gonna say that a car that's this big feels agile and chuckable and enjoyable through the bends, but this one really is. Surprisingly so. I like it. This is an overtaking monster. You can easily get carried away with your speed. It's really, really quick. And maybe it's deceivingly quick because it's not that noisy. Yes, you do hear it's a 6-cylinder. Maybe some of it is pumped through the speakers. It probably is. But it sounds a bit muffled and subdued. It's basically a luxury missile that's also interested in saving the planet. At least that's how Mercedes wants you to perceive it. It can rip your face off 1 second, then silently glide past the kindergarten, angering exactly 0 Karens in the process. Okay, so let's do a launch. So to launch it, it's easy. You just put your left foot on the brake, stab the gas and let it go. That's 100. Like I said, it's deceivingly quick. It should be noisier to let you know that you're driving something really, really fast and powerful. This is definitely a fun car, and it needs to be, given its specs and price and scope, let's say. Frankly, there's little I would change about it. The suspension is truly phenomenal. We're in Sport Plus now. The road isn't the smoothest, but it's fantastic feeling. The only thing that is letting the side down a little bit maybe are the brakes. The front rotors are 370mm and the rears are 360s. They do look kind of small with these 21-inch wheels, I will say that. But it also feels like you have to press the brake quite a bit to get the car to scrub off significant speed. They are unquestionably effective, but I would like them to be a bit sharper maybe? I'm not sure if it's in need of bigger rotors or what the issue is. It could also have something to do with blending the regenerative braking with the friction brakes. For instance, when you accelerate it vigorously and then quickly switch to the brake and you press it, it seems to not react quickly enough. I think the first part of the travel is regen, and it's not enough when you're accelerating hard in this car. And you find yourself pressing the brake more and more and more until suddenly they seem to start grabbing and you finally start losing speed. But it's a bit disconcerting and it's not confidence inspiring at all. I have gotten used to this after driving the car for a while, but it was a bit scary at first. One thing I noticed is that I haven't felt the need to take control of the gears myself in this car. It has a 9-speed torque converter automatic, which in auto mode is more than adequate, and it shifts the gears sportily enough, quickly and with a bit of a jolt. I like that, that's nice and sporty. The problem is when you put it in manual mode and take control of the gears yourself, which you can do via the AMG specific control here on the steering wheel, which has a screen. So you press it until you see the D with the 2 cogs, then you press the little button on the side and now you're in manual. And it just doesn't really respond quickly. Who wants lag when downshifting while driving quickly? I appreciate the fact that it doesn't shift up for you. But it seems that just like in the CL E53, if you don't shift up in manual mode, it bogs down and all of the acceleration is lost. Like there's a really soft limiter, soft rubber bandy limiter. So I've mostly found myself keeping this car in automatic. There's no sport setting for the automatic shifting. I think that's coupled with the drive mode. So if you have it in dynamic, which is the most aggressive, this also handles the gears. One thing I look out for in all sporty cars, all of which I drive in their sporty setting with their suspension in comfort, I want to see if you can drive them every day with the settings like this. Because for instance, I drove a BMW M135, and if you keep that in sport, it keeps the revs too high. It's kind of annoying. The transmission doesn't do a good job of keeping you in a higher gear when you're not really on it, and you have to put it in comfort mode to drive it sedately. But in the best cars, you can put them in sport, drive them normally, and they will shift up at a normal RPM and they will not behave significantly differently until you put your foot down. Fiddling with modes, it feels kind of old-fashioned, to be honest. And the fact that this car can do it all in dynamic mode is great. I think it's the mark of a great performance car. I really like the E53 AMG. It does so many things right, and it hides its weight really well, which was a point of contention. I wasn't sure what it was going to feel like through the corners, but you do not feel the 2.3 tons. It's a great handling package. It really does shrink around you like the best cars do. You can even spec this thing with DC fast charging. Yeah, on a plug-in hybrid. It'll take up to 60 kilowatts, which means the 21.1 kilowatt-hour usable battery goes from 10 to 80% in around 20 minutes. If you stick with the standard 11 kilowatt AC charger, you're looking at roughly 3 hours for a full charge, so fast charging isn't just a gimmick on this thing. It actually makes using the EV side properly realistic. Mercedes claims close to 100 kilometers of electric range, but in the real world, expect around 70 kilometers. That's still pretty good, and you can run pure electric at up to 140 kilometers per hour, although if you do that, the range is going to evaporate much faster. Now for the fun part. I mean, it's fun if you're rich. Here in Romania, the E53 plug-in hybrid starts at 116,000 euros, VAT included. The fancy edition one is closer to 130,000, and it's still not fully loaded. I've seen some mixed reviews about this car, but I'm giving it the double thumbs up. I really like it. Thank you for watching.